Hi guys, it's Alex Base here, and welcome to my channel. Thank you very much to those of you who have watched and subscribed to it, and to those who haven't subscribed, well, thanks anyway for watching it. Today I've got the Vivo V40 Pro, and I have had it for some time. It was not easy to get my hands on it as it's not widely available in Europe, but I'm delighted that's in my possession. It is a upper mid-ranger, which got some very curious and interesting specs that I'm looking forward to discuss with you. And I've already, of course, unboxed it actually, but let's go through it quickly. This is the global version of it, and there we go. See what is inside of it. We've got a clear case, yay! The usual warranty and instructions. A charger in the box, UP, 80 watt Vivo flash charge, which is great. And we've got a USB-A to USB-C cable and a Porky Pen device, the SIM ejection tool. UP, good stuff. Let's focus on the phone itself. And this one here has got a pre-applied screen protector. Nice touch of it. I've already knackered the screen protector in the box, as you can see, but anywho. The front of it is covered by shot glass. It's not Corning Gorilla Glass, but I hope it is durable nonetheless. It's got a plastic frame, but it's a very funky one. As you can see, it's got a double mic on top of it. And here as well, got the power button and the volumes up and down. And on the back is also shot sensation glass. I'm not familiar with that company, but I guess they are big players in it. This is the Moonlight white color, by the way. You can also get it in titanium gray and Ganges blue, which suspiciously looks green to me anyway, but whatever. This one is a mid-ranger. However, it's got stereo speakers. That's not very typical of Vivo. They usually only put it on their flagships, the X series. They are big players in Asia, and they are the 5th largest manufacturer in the world as well, according to recent data. They're the biggest seller this year in India. Here are some figures to prove that point. It's got a dual SIM card, no eSIM support, however, and as we've already found out, this is a USB-C port. And it's got IP68 rating for water and dust resistance, so it's fully covered, submergible in water up to 1.5 meters, up to 30 minutes. And if you check how slim it is, there we go. This phone has a mighty 5,500 milliamp hour battery. It's amazing. Speaking of batteries, I need to clarify something. The fast charge of your phone does not damage your battery. Yeah, I'm going to do a separate video with it because I'm sick and tired of that myth. And I'm going to bust it completely once and for all. I'm sick of it. Fast charging does not damage your battery lifespan, period. And it's got 80 watt charge. However, I don't expect it to be as fast as the, for example, OnePlus or Realme or Oppo, even though technically this is a brother of all these phones. But we'll see about it later on. And on the back is one of the highlights of the phone, actually. It's got a triple camera setup. It's tuned by the German giant Zeiss. It is pronounced Zeiss, by the way, not Zeiss nor Zeiss either. It's Zeiss. And it's a 50 megapixel main camera, 50 megapixel ultrawide, and a 50 megapixel telephoto camera, and a very fancy flash ring here. Check it out afterwards. So I'm looking forward to see what kind of photos it can do. And the screen, apart from being protected by shot glass, and it's got a screen protector on top of it, is a 120 Hertz Super AMOLED screen. And it's a 1.5K resolution, just like on the Realme GT60 and the OnePlus 12R. And it's standard one, not as LTPO screen, but still, I think it's going to be good. And it's got HDR10 Plus certification. Right, so let's set it up, and we're going to go through it and take it from there. Here's a quick fun fact about Vivo. They were the ones who invented the in-display fingerprint scanner. They put it on their X20 Plus in 2018. Everyday use is actually not bad at all. It's a smooth experience, 120Hz screen with its Fun Touch OS skin, and despite the big battery and the high specs, the phone only weighs 197 grams. That can be considered light. It's a smooth Android skin, and Vivo actually promises 3 years of software updates and 4 years of security patches. The one I got here is actually the 12 gigabytes of RAM and 512 gigabytes of storage, and the base one you can get with 8 gigabytes of RAM and 256 gigabytes of storage. Like every phone, it's got some crap to get rid of, TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook, all that crap. If you don't want it, get rid of it. It's got some useful features on the software. Not much AI here at all, but you've got a sidebar. You can open an app straight out of it, which is convenient in some situations, for example. And you also got customizations options. For example, you can do the fingerprint animation, and you can choose as well other stuff. For example, this one here, you can choose the battery animation as well, and the charging one, the charging port, which is quite funky. Or of course trying to set your dynamic light on, which is also a torch. It doesn't work exactly that easy, but in the end you're gonna get there. Vivo V40 Pro has a stereo speaker setup, but no Dolby Atmos support. You can adjust your preferred scenario and options into the sound quality and effects. Now let's hear the speakers, how they sound like. Unfortunately, the Vivo V40 Pro does not support high resolution audio through your earbuds or headphones, which is a pity. The screen is quite bright and you can use it outdoors no problems, and also in a sunny day as well. Not that we have that many here in Britain, but I don't think you'll be having any troubles using it. It's a 6.7-inch 120Hz Super AMOLED screen. It's got HDR10 Plus support as well, and you can get on some content in YouTube. And it works with Netflix and Amazon Prime as well. Being an AMOLED screen, it actually gives you deep blacks, and no matter what content you're watching, a TV or a TV show or animation or sports, you will not be disappointed. The contrast is great, and it's also bright enough. The HDR works pretty well. All we know, I would say this is a great screen. The only thing missing from it is a variable refresh rate, as this is not an LTPO screen. Speaking of the refresh rate, when you set it to 120 Hz, you do get it into the software and the interface, and when you web browse as well. When you go to the photo galleries, 120 Hz. However, when you go to Google Maps and videos, it goes down to 60 Hz. When you set it at 60 Hz, it's actually, you get that one in everything. Doesn't matter if it's videos, photo gallery, maps, browsing, it's 60 Hz fixed. It becomes a little bit interesting when you put it into smart switch or auto select. You get 120 Hz when you are in the interface, then when you're web browsing is 90 Hz. Then in YouTube, for example, you open it up, is 120 Hz, you start playing the video, it's 90 Hz. Go figure. Unfortunately, all the major games I tried were locked to 60 Hz. That is a disappointment considering the powerful chipset and the price of this phone. Now moving on to the battery, you've got the charger in the box, yay! And it's 80 watts. And also in the battery section, you can check what the capacity is and the battery health of your battery, just like on iPhones, which is fantastic. Starting from empty tank at 0%, I got in 15 minutes charge 33%, in 30 minutes charge 62%, a full charge took just under 49 minutes, and also 80% I was at 38 minutes and 30 seconds, just for the record. And of course, again, fast charging does not damage your battery's lifespan, okay? This is a myth. Anywho, to prove that point, Vivo actually promises 1600 full cycles of charge before your battery goes down to 80% capacity, which is double the standard of 800. In terms of battery life, 1 hour of web browsing took the battery down by 5%, 1 hour of phone calls took it down by 3%, 1 hour of videos took it down by 8%, and 1 hour of gaming took it down by 9%. In terms of performance, the Vivo V40 Pro's got last year's flagship chipset Dimensity 9200 Plus, and you can see in an 220 Geekbench 6 the scores are top level. It's actually on par CPU wise with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2. And you can see from these scores and comparisons how it actually stands with flagships from last year. And while CPU wise it's great, the GPU is a bit tricky. The GPU, the gaming here is very powerful indeed, and it can give you some good scores. However, when you put it under stress, it throttles, and you can see it here in the wildlife stress test. It's 45.5% stability, which is very low. The phone did get pretty warm when I was gaming for an hour as well, so the thermal management is not very good. The vapor cooling chamber system is not top notch for sure. In the sorbet stress test, it goes to 44%, and it's low, and it's 47 degrees Celsius temperature, so it's very high. However, you can see here a high score at the Solar Bay test, which is the prowess of the chipset. In the CPU stress test, however, it is pretty good, 76.8% stability, so the everyday multitasking is good and consistent. The temperature does go high at 47 degrees Celsius like the GPU, however, it does not throttle that much, which is a pretty good sign. Now let's take a look at the camera. It's a 50 megapixel main snapper with optical image stabilization, a 50 megapixel ultrawide, and a 50 megapixel telephoto with 2x optical zoom. On the front, we've got a 50 megapixel selfie camera. Starting off with the selfies, and they're not bad at all. The exposure is good. The high dynamic range is also very good, and the subject is detailed as well as the background behind him or her. So I think these are pretty good overall. Sizes tune them in, and the colors are pretty natural. You can let me know what you think of those selfies in the comments section. The selfie camera sensor, by the way, is Samsung ISOCELL JN1, 50 megapixels. I did take some close-up shots and some customary indoor shots, and they turn out to be overall pretty good. I didn't have much complaints about them. Moving on to the outdoor shots, they're pretty good overall. From the main camera, their colors are natural. There's plenty of detail. The high dynamic range is excellent. There's an issue with the ultrawide, however. The main one, the 2x zoom, which is the optical zoom, and the 4x digital zoom shots are good. They're very solid. However, the ones from the ultrawides are very soft, and when you try to zoom it in, they start to fall apart very quickly. The detail is just disappearing. The ultrawide is a bit of a letdown, but if you just take the picture and don't zoom it in too deeply, you'll be fine with it. The other shots from the other cameras are pretty good. There are three modes that you can use. The size mode, which is the natural mode, the texture one, which obviously makes it a little bit more vivid, and the actual vivid one that makes it the most colorful of them all. I've took samples from all three modes, and you can choose whichever is best for you. I think the size one for me works better than the others, but then again, it's down to your own taste, and it's always good to have options. Have a look at these samples and you can let me know in the comments section what you think of them. Here's some more shots to compare from the cameras, and then we can move on to the night shots. The selfies at night are not bad at all, actually. They exceeded my expectations. The contrast is good, the exposure is nice, the detail is good as well. I think that you can even probably use them to post them on social media. Zeiss and Vivo have definitely done some great job with the selfies, and they are among the best one I've seen on a mid-range phone. The night shots from the main camera are good overall. They are not flagship level or anything to write home about, but they are overall solid. And the ones from the ultra wide, just in the same vein as the ones during the day, are soft and lack detail when you zoom them in. Otherwise, if you just look at the image, they're fine. The camera performance at night overall is solid without being exceptional. The 2x optical zoom is good when there is enough light, and the 4x digital zoom is also okay. Both are nothing to write home about, just like the ultra wide and the main one. You can have a look at these images and see them for yourselves. Also, just make sure there's enough light for your telephoto shots, otherwise you're gonna end up with a painting like in these ones here. Now let's check out the video. This is at 4K 30 frames per second. Again, a little ultra wide angle of 0.8. Then we go to the main one and zoom. Alright, this is 4K 60 frames per second. This is on the a little bit ultra wide mode, 0.8. I'm gonna make it a little bit closer. This is supposedly the main one, and it's got a little bit of a zoom. Not too bad. This is 4K 30 frames per second, ultra wide. .4K 30 frames per second from the main camera. This is 4K 60 frames per second from the Ultrawide. This is 4K 60 frames per second from the main camera. .4K at 60 frames per second, ultra wide. .4K 60 frames per second from the main one. .4K at 30 frames per second, that's 2 times zoom. That's interesting indeed. There you have it, guys. The Vivo V40 Pro. Overall, it's a very solid package. Good camera, except for the ultra wide, of course. And very solid build on IP68. Great screen. Great chipset, flagship level. Very good speakers. And also, the battery life is excellent, except for the videos, which was a little bit of a just rated average to good on the videos. The rest, the other scores, web browsing, calls, and gaming were excellent. And on the downside, NFC is market and region dependent, which is pretty stupid at this price point. Starting at 48,000 rupees in India, this is just criminal. And also, no HD audio, another inexcusable miss, really. And you're stuck with no high resolution audio, just AAC and SBC codecs on the phone, which is again a minus, and no eSIM support. If those three negatives don't bother you, definitely go ahead and have a look at this one and consider it to buy it if you're looking for a phone in that region. And I would think it's worth a look, but then again, it depends on your personal needs and wants. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next time. Ciao.